Did you bring some fish?
That is quite logical, Captain.
Where shall I strike?
Test your might. Test your might.
Get it out! Get it out!
Test your might. Test your might.
Your mother was a murderer! You smell like a leopard! You are not prepared!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek Card, show 128. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter, Robbie Glow.
Happy Easter, Mr. Razerbug.
And in a sure sign that the stars are coming right and the end times are upon us, it's a balmy, wonderful, sunny and warm Easter bank holiday in the UK. So if you can hear extra background noise on my end, it's because I have got all the windows in the house open, as it went from about 7 to 9 degrees the week before to 22 in London this week. So bit of a temperature change there, even if you don't use centigrade.
I mean, to put it in perspective, we've had the hottest Easter bank holiday Monday ever today.
Yes, just in case that whole climate change, global warming thing you were still on the fence about.
Yeah, just in case.
I
think it was
really warm really quickly here.
Yeah, like it's not the hottest Easter weekend. But it's the hottest. It was the hottest Easter Sunday at 25 degrees, and it's the hottest Easter Monday at 24. So,
I think I lost you for a moment there, Robbie.
Oh no, it's okay. It'll record. Keep the recording on my end. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Well, if this might be a slightly fractious recording, as we've had 2 disconnects, but we will soldier on. And good news, everybody! I found the stamp.
Where was it?
It had somehow been moved to my partner's side of the desk. So,
oh, how rude!
Yes, it was a victim of over eager tidy up, I think.
So how was your week in Geek?
My week in Geek has been mostly busy, but not very geeky. I've had lots of friends coming into London, and we've been out up into Cambridgeshire visiting family and all sorts of good things, social things, but not actually geeky stuff. There's not been any more tabletop gaming for the time being, as we're switching over from the end of our Dragon Heist game to a brand new Blake 7 game, which would be very interesting because I'm not old enough to have seen Blake 7 the first time round. And when we watched a bunch of episodes that the GM is hoping would all inspire us and give us an idea of characters and plot and setting and everything, we learned a few things. One, Blake isn't actually in it very much. 2, there's very rarely 7 of them. In fact, at one point it's down to 4, led by somebody else. It's a strange one, that one. So I'm going to go in with an open mind, as I don't know anything about the source material, so I can't make any judgments. But it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. So. We're using a new system for it as well, so that'll be interesting.
Oh dear, I don't know how I feel about changing systems straight away and not having a break between games.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. We tend to sort of do a new system, then some D&D, then a new system, then some D&D, because it's sort of like everyone can drop back into 5th edition very easily. So we sort of have 5th edition as our break from new systems. But given that the last new system we had was Burning Wheel,
Yeah, not going back to that anytime soon.
We are not going back to that anytime soon. Yes, but the GM who wanted us all to play Burning Wheel has apparently taken delivery of an expansion for it, but everyone has resoundingly told him he can find someone else to play that with.
Oh God, why would you get an expansion to a system that's obviously not gone well?
Well, because he backed the Kickstarter that generated it, so
Oh
he's getting
right.
all of this stuff, whether he likes it or not.
Oh
basically.
God. So it just arrived and he's like, oh God, I regret everything.
Yes. And then after that, we are going to be running a game of Invisible Sun, which is like a kind of like the Matrix if it was in a fantasy setting.
Oh right.
It's like the real world is actually fake, and the game world is actually the real world, and you are like crossing over to the game world by playing it, and everyone's some kind of magic user, and yeah, it sounds truly bizarre and quite cool. But yeah, the person who's going to be GMing that is playtesting it to write some campaigns and settings and things for it, because they're a professional writer. So yeah, we're going to be willing guinea pigs on that one. So I'll let everybody know how that goes.
Oh, that sounds fun. But
Yeah.
I did some D&D this week finally.
Oh yes.
And long story short, our group has been stuck in a volcano for the last whole session, trying to go through the stereotypical normal thing of it's a tiny bridge and there's only wide enough for each of you to go across one at a time. Ugh.
You need some boots to spider climb and walk up walls.
Well, I just use jump and dash because I'm a monk.
Oh yes.
So I was
Step
fine.
in the wind over it. Yeah.
That's I was fine with that, doing my acrobatics checks and not falling into lava. That was fine.
Crouching tiger, hidden dexterity check.
Exactly. But it's actually been pretty good because we had, I think a couple of shows ago I mentioned that there was a character death, but one of them has come back now as a, oh God, what was it? I think they call themselves a sniper, but it's ranger.
Oh right, okay.
But it's like sort of not with bows, but with guns and stuff.
Oh cool.
So that's that, and they're a gnome, so they can just hide and shoot everything.
Have they got a gun that's bigger than they are?
They got a crossbow that's bigger than them. So
Nice.
they have to be like within 10 feet to be able to hit anything with it, because it's just like, oh God, this thing's so heavy I could barely aim with it.
Nice.
Which is quite fun. But we did have, I can't remember what the name of the monster is, but it's a roper. It's a tentacle monster thing where it's fixed in one point, but there's tentacles that come out of it, and if you get grabbed and it pulls you closer, and it as soon as it gets to the main body of the monster, it will basically hurt you for a lot of damage each turn. So we had to do a lot of nimble running around and trying to get the tentacles all crossed over and into each other so they couldn't move very far and stuff. So,
did you have someone screaming, "Don't let this beast eat me"?
Funnily enough, no, because I wouldn't let that happen and I would leave. I would let them be eaten by that because, fuck that dungeon in WoW.
Yes. There is, for those who are non-WoW players or currently lapsed, there is a encounter, a boss fight at the end of one of the 5-man content areas that just repeats the same 3 highly annoying phrases constantly in a loop for the whole 5 to 10 minute fight. And it's one of the most annoying fights in the game at the moment. So it's doubly annoying that you're trying to concentrate on this really annoying fight, and then you've got this guy wailing on about being eaten, to the point where, yes, we have all at several times expressed a desire to let this beast eat him, and just be done with.
It's funny because it's one of those ones where we could choose, if we had the option to choose to ignore it, we would, but it's a central part of the boss fight because you can't hit the actual boss until you free him
There should be a thing like in Topical where you can open up the cell doors if you're a rogue, or if you have no, it is just
you have engineering keys.
You have keys, yes,
blacksmith keys. Yeah.
I reckon if one of the people in your group is an engineer, you should just have the option of let the beast eat him. I'll fix the cannon myself.
Yep. Yeah, I can get down with that.
or even just like if you had an auto hammer, for example, you just put one of those down and it would fix the. If you had 4 of them, it would fix the cannon each time.
Oh, dear me! But like, speaking of mythics, God, this week's been annoying.
Yes.
I,
This week's 4-day weekend has actually hampered our attempts to do anything as well.
well, it's not just that; it's actually fallen so that the affixes are awful that it's difficult to progress. So it's actually
What are the affixes
yeah.
this week?
We have fortified, which is non-boss enemies up by 20%, and bolstering. So every time you kill something, it'll give you a debuff, and if you keep killing things within the timer, it will stack, and you get more and more percentage of your health every second drop. And it's we went into Topical, and as you know, there's not very much space in there. And there's one part where we didn't have a rogue or something that could open the cell doors so we could kill things. But on the second boss, you have the Worgen who opens up all the jail cells on the floor. And, of course, they count as non-boss enemies. So they're fortified and they bolster.
Oh, dear.
So it fucking hurts. And we had a 5 key on Saturday, and we normally have trouble with the woman who loves the fire so much, boss.
Yes.
And which, ironically enough, we managed to do that encounter on the third go. So that's how wacky this week was. But on the second boss, we had at least 6 goes, to the point that we were just like, okay, we'll just do it one more time. But we kept getting the percentage like down to 4, down to 3. And then we had one time where we were going to get him, and then he feared someone out of the door, so it leashed the boss. And we had to do it again.
That boss is notorious for doing that. There was one where, because he fears everybody. And at one point, in fact, it was the first time we ever tried that dungeon. We didn't know it was going to happen, so I was stood too far back, and it feared me. And all I did was run into the corner of the room. I didn't even run out the door, but it's still leashed. Oh. It's like if you go anywhere near that back wall and it fears you, then that's it.
Yeah, like
it screws up the fight.
It does screw up the fight, but we got through that, and like, okay, it was like nearly 25 minutes over the timer, but we were doing it for some people for gear, because we were in Discord and we were like, oh, we're going to do a 5. And, there was a few of us, and we were like, does anyone who hasn't really done any high keys want to come? So we were like, okay, we'll just do it. But so we were determined to finish the dungeon just for their gear. So we went in going, we're not doing this to beat the timer, because there was Bert and Celine and I, and we had already said before we chosen that one, it's like, if we go there, we're not finishing it in time because of the affixes. We already knew. But we thought it would be because of the third boss, the firefight. Yeah, the firefight, where you have to move the barrels into a corner and then run the fuck away before they blow you up. And that, like I said, that one went fine after we just moved her a little bit further one way, or we were in the right place so that we could pick the barrels up straight away, and making sure that we could dispel people who had the fuse lighter. So that wasn't the problem. We didn't actually anticipate that the second boss would be a problem at all until we did it. And then we realized halfway around, it's like, oh, wait, there's going to be a fuck ton of things now, and they're going to hurt. Eesh. And on Mythic, of course, he's got his brother in that fight. Yeah. So you get an extra boss that's going to do awful shit and stun you for 30 seconds so you can't get out of the way of stuff. So it was very annoying with those affixes. So if we do more Mythics, we're probably not going to do many more. But we did get Mekkatorque down in the raid, so that was fine.
We did. Yes, that was a tough one, but we did it again where we sort of wiped quite a lot the week before, and then came back to it having spent a week, sleeping on it or whatever, and we got him down pretty quick. It was like the second pull or something, wasn't it?
I think it was third, because the second pull we had the problem with the robots weren't spawning properly. And
oh, that's right, yes.
Yeah, we always seemed to have 2 robots but 3 people with the thing that needed to go into it. But yeah, we managed to do that one, and then I quite like the next fight in a way, because of the it splits the party up, doesn't it? And you have the 2. I guess I don't know what they are. I guess you call them Tide Sages, because they seem to be channeling a big water beast thing.
Yeah.
And you have, even though it's quite a small confined area for half the group to be in, it's quite nice to have that dynamic where it's like, oh wait, we don't have to worry about where tanks are standing, because there's only one tank and everyone's range, so we can all move. And I'm not sure what it's like on the other side.
On the melee side, it's nice. There's a couple of really lethal mechanics, like one shot kill mechanics, but they're not difficult to understand. It's like two areas of the ship can't be stood in, right? You survive that. Two different areas of the ship can't be stood in. And as everyone's melee, you just all cluster on the boss effectively. But it works really well for me as a paladin healer because, hey, everyone's in a small area. You're all at melee range. So I can just keep throwing out my only AoE heal, which is, I can't remember what it's called.
Shield of Light?
I use it's something like that. I use a Linkin Park lyric and call it "Spraying Bright Day," but it's basically like a golden cone out in front of me.
Oh yeah.
So I can just keep spamming that out while we're doing the movement sequences, which is really useful. It's not very good in general raid situations because it's very short range. It's like 10 feet maybe or something. It's even shorter range than the Paladin's general healing, but yeah, so I liked that fight as well. We haven't got it down yet. We get
past the boat phase, right? So
yeah, we get to the final phase, and then we've just got to work out where people need to be standing because it's one of those ones where there's very limited amount of floor space.
And the more that things spawn, you got to try and keep them in a line so that you kill the one up front and then you go straight to the one behind. But if you don't kill them quick enough, the one behind is catching up to the point that's like, okay, we've wiped because it's impossible to get that one down before it gets to the boss. But what I liked about the setup we had in the raid last week was we had 2 ranged healers and 2 melee healers, and that just seemed to work a lot better in general. Even with the Mekkatorque fight, it was nice to have like rather than where we have to focus on you with the tanks to heal them because me and Raven having to run around like lunatics trying to get the ranged healed. You sort of had a bit of a not a lighter job, but it was nice to have the extra person.
Well, we were 15 man running a 10 man.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think I really really like that about the flex system though, is we can now just bring whatever size of group we've got. We tend to have problems if we've got less than 10 people, but certainly if we end up with sort of 12, 13, 14
yeah,
people.
like we had in Legion where we could get away with 9. That in this expansion they seem to have done something where it just seems to be just too much of a difficult thing to have.
Well, in Legion we were doing first tier raid content after.
I'm on about Antorus when that was out.
Oh, you're on Antorus.
Yeah,
right?
okay. I remember we did the first boss of Antorus on 9.
Next week, if I'm right in thinking, in 2 days' time we won't have a raid, and then the week after that, I'm tanking.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, but I was surprised to hear. Well, I already heard it from you through our guild's Facebook chat that you've got a new character all of a sudden.
Yes, I was chatting with a mutual friend of ours, Matthew. Who we went out for drinks with EJ and Raven, the lovely ladies of Girls Gone WoW, and some IRL friends, and 2 of them play WoW, not very regularly these days, but they're sort of, we knew them as in-person friends before we knew that they also played WoW. But so we were chatting to them, and I was sort of saying how I was enjoying healing and how I'd ended up playing a paladin, because the last he'd heard I was playing a mage, and he'd never heard me express a desire to heal or tank. And so I'd filled him in on what happened with EJ and Druid, bear tanking and that sort of thing. And so he said that, like, anecdotally he'd always played a death knight or a warrior, but just recently he'd been healing as a monk. He was saying that actually Mistweaver monk healing he finds really really enjoyable, and he suggested I give it a go. So see, I thought, well, I never did roll a monk or level a panda, so maybe I'll have a go at a panda monk. So yes, I rolled a panda monk. I've only done literally the very first quest on him so far. I didn't have time once I'd rolled the character up to actually get to play much of him. But I named him Daniel's son, which I was pleased wasn't taken, and yeah, giving the old punchy kicky a go. I think I'll run him through levels 1 to 10 because that's all in the Wandering Isle, and it's a starting area that I don't remember having done at all. If we did do
it's such a fun opening.
yeah,
one.
I seem to remember it being a nice leveling experience, but I barely remember any of it. So it's perfect for me, almost getting new content again. And then when I get to level 10, assuming I'm happy with it, I'll probably boost it to 110.
I think it boosts to 120 now.
Oh, does it? Okay, I might boost it straight to 120.
Yeah, I'd have to double check that. But I'm fairly sure it changed with one of the patches. I'll have to again look for that. But
yeah, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, I'll then try and heal my way through some of the low level content.
Well, we've got on the Discord thing. We seem to have started a alt low key mythic group, or just not so much a group, but do people want to do stuff on their alts? Do your keys 2 to 4 sort of thing?
So I did 2 warfronts yesterday on my main and my alt, my main paladin and my alt mage, and my alt mage managed to get a 405
it's crazy.
So that's taken them down to 392. So now my alt mage is now higher level gear than my 390 geared
Does
paladin.
this mean that now your paladin is your alt?
I don't know. I was about to ask you that. So if your alt out gears your main, do they immediately get?
I always assume the one that's the main is the one that you would take. For me, it's the one that you would take to a raid. So
yeah, so that's why I still call my.
So my priest is my main because I heal raids, even though I'm now out mythicking the priest on my warlock, but I don't take my warlock on raids.
Yeah, I'm the same. My main is going to be my paladin that I heal the raid on. I think so. The healing the warfront on my paladin was interesting because we got into the fight, and I identified we had 2 main tanks, which was fine. So I identified the tanks and I threw out blessings on them. And for a paladin, you can see a golden glow over their heads. That no one else can see, but just you, and it's really useful. It means you can tell where your tanks are at any one time. And so off we go, and we start barreling through the content, and I'm thinking, well, I'm doing a lot of healing here, but okay, that's fine. That's what I'm here for, sort of thing. So we carry on, and I sort of look at the healing meter, and I'm like, oh yeah, look, there's me and there's 2 other healers, and I'm topping the chart, but they're not far behind. This will be fine. And then I realize, hang on, the other 2 people doing high healing are the tanks.
Yeah, they're self-healing, aren't they?
They're self-healing. So I realized I was the only healer in a group of however many people are in a warfront.
Wow, it is designed that you don't need healers or tanks. It is designed that way.
No, you do.
Yeah, you do.
there was. We actually only lost 1 person, and I was able to res them. But boy, did people get low! I was basically just burning cooldowns as soon as they came off cooldown.
I have done the Darkshore one on my priest as the only healer, and that is terrifying.
Yeah, this was the Darkshore one. It became really difficult when people are all going off on bats or flying over to islands and stuff. It became like impossible to keep track of everyone, but somehow, by the time I caught up with people, I was able to get them out of the red and back into the green. So
yeah, I mean, I always look at it that, like, at the beginning of all those warfronts where groups have to split. I'm basically like, well, good luck to whoever's not with me. I hope you have personal items because you're gonna need them. But at least, like, the thing I've noticed about warfronts is that there's not really much of people complaining because of the way it's designed, which is nice because it's not going to be one of those ones where if people die, they're going to be like, oh, why don't you heal me? Da da da. It's more of we're in this as a group with people knowing that theoretically you don't need a healer.
I mean, I've seen people complain in the Stromguard one because there's often times when people just run straight at the enemy and don't bother collecting lumber or wood. Lumber or wood? What am I talking about?
Lumber or stones.
But in the Darkshore one, it's not so bad because you don't really have to go off to an area and pick the things up. You just kind of pick them up as you go through the fight.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's
yeah.
not too bad, that one. I just don't like. I like Warfront, but the Darkshore one, it seems like they could do without that first section. If they just went straight to the
Darkshore,
if they went straight to the village at where you start gathering the resources, like you do with the Stromguard one, you'd be all right.
I don't mind that so much because it fits in with the storyline that they have been completely driven out and they are.
Oh yeah, of
retaking
course.
it,
I'm
but-
just talking about doing it for the 10th time.
Yeah, that's true. I think for me, it's the bit at the end where you've got to first use the bats to blow up the ship. I don't think everyone always knows what's going on that because
A lot of people don't know you can pick up things on the ground.
no, I mean because I was healing the party and I was thinking, well, this is really this is not too bad. People aren't all flying off in different directions, and I realized because there's basically like 2 people flying on the bats and no one else knows what they're doing, so they're just milling around killing NPCs.
Yeah. But that was a good week, and it's a good week, really, considering that we've had a bank holiday.
Yeah, I mean, considering it's basically been a 4-day week and people have been traveling around the country, it's not been too bad. We've had stuff to do.
Yeah.
So yes. So what's been going on for the world in geeky generalness?
Oh God. We talked about this a few shows ago, and I think we were talking about the possibility of this happening. So I think we predicted this. The Samsung Galaxy Fold phone had the review unit sent out to various establishments. Guess what?
I'm sure.
Guess what happened? Guess what happened?
Did the Fold not work?
Well? Did it not work very well?
Did it just crunch?
After about a day or two's worth of use from reviewers, they were seeing that the screens were not folding out properly. There was pixels dying. There was not cracks in the screen, but on the panel itself under the screen,
Right.
and that the fold would be more and more visible the more you folded it. So it seems like it wasn't protected or strengthened in the fold itself, because you could see when you close the phone and open the phone multiple times, you would assume they would have done the technology before shipping them out to make sure that the screen doesn't bend or weaken. There's a word for that I'm struggling with right now. Fatigues, yeah, have fatigue cracks, but it seems like at certain angles after using the phone for a while and opening it and closing it, they become more and more visible.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And also, funnily enough, people are complaining about the fact that it's difficult to use as a phone. Which I was okay, so what's the positives of this phone? And some people were like, oh, it's a nice concept. There's a lot of battery life. It's really nice to use. And then it's like, oh, okay, but what's the bad stuff? It's like, the screen durability is bad at best. Okay, the display quality is not good because of that. And also, it's really awkward to use it as a phone up to your ear.
I love this. This is a folding phone, or a phone where the screen folds. So it has 2 jobs: be a phone
and fold,
and have a folding screen. The screen doesn't fold properly,
and it's awkward,
and it doesn't work as a phone.
But the thing is, though, it was always going to be one of those ones where it was an interesting idea, and theoretically, it was amazing.
We've said this before, but it's a solution to a problem that no one was having.
Yeah.
No one said, I wish this phone was twice as wide, but I could fold it and put it in my pocket.
I mean, I'm still going to be that one that's like, I really want that Motorola Razr flip folding screen, though.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with the concept of folding screens. I'd like a phone with more real estate and more battery life as a result, but yeah, it's you've got to get the technology right without sort of trying to push the hype before you can do what you're promising.
Yeah, I mean, the price for this as well is painful.
Oh god, yeah,
it's nearly $2,000.
Yeah, that's that's beyond even Apple level of ridiculous.
Yeah, for something that has been sort of established by multiple review sites now, doesn't work as well as it was designed to. I mean, our going back to WoW just quickly, our one of our main tanks on the raid saw this and was like, might be getting the 3rd generation one.
Yeah, I think I'll let this one run through a few versions.
Yeah, and in one of the pictures on the Verge.com article I've linked to, you can see where the fold is visible, and it's painfully visible.
It's also clearly 2 screens trying to be in sync with each other, because the article gives an example of if when you're scrolling web page content, the 2 sides of the screen aren't moving
they're not.
exactly the right.
It's called jelly scroll, where it's sort of a bit wobbly. Yeah, it's a shame though, isn't it? Really, because it was something that people were so excited for and still are excited for. But I'm just looking at that image of when the phone is folded and you're using the outer screen, and it's too thin. It looks too thin,
Too
and
narrow
to use as a the screen looks too narrow to use as a phone. It looks like it's a phone. The screen from the inside is being emulated onto the outside, and it's not been done properly. There's a lot of space in that front bit, isn't there?
It looks like it looks more like you've put a phone screen on a TV remote.
Yes, it's a no from me.
Yes. Nice idea. Call us again in 5 years' time when you've got it.
So we're all looking for what got the Galaxy Fold 4 or 5. Maybe.
Well, that Huawei looked very interesting at the tech demo.
Yeah, it did.
Shame about all the spying.
It did. Well, true. There was a link. Maybe. If you just quickly, there's the first link in the article itself where it says reviewers have experienced their Galaxy Fold units breaking. There's a link to people's Twitters that are reviewers, and you can see what I'm on about with the screen. Some of them, the screen hasn't broken, but it's bled underneath.
Oh yeah,
where the liquid's bled, and it's now not doing it. And then you see where the hinges have broken and where the bezels have snapped and cracked the screen. And yeah, it seems to pick up dents easily as well. So
the screen seems to be folding and coming away in places that made people think it was a screen protector, and they tried to take it off.
Yeah, and there's also on the hinges there's a lot of bubbling.
Yeesh, that's there's actually a warning on the back of the phone telling you that like there's a layer on this screen, don't take it off. That's
yeah, it's like it may cause damage. I know what it says. Dear future Galaxy Fold owners, I know I always say no one ever reads the instructions. Please read this one.
I done fucked up my own phone by
It's like when people were like, when iPhone took away the headphone jack, and then there was those troll videos on YouTube where people had been screwing holes in so that you could like put that jack in, and people actually do that. And then they're like, I done fucked up my phone because I followed a YouTube tutorial that was obviously a troll.
Jeez.
Or charge your phone battery up in the microwave in 15 seconds. Yeah, it's like, oh, what do I do now? My phone's fucked up. Don't put it in the microwave.
I've just cooked my phone,
I think The Verge was very generous, though, for giving this out of 4 out of 10.
I was going to say, is it out of 5 or out of 10? Because it's definitely not 4
it's
out of
10. Oh my god, with the bad bits of this phone, if this got a 4 out of 5, there'd be riots.
Yes, so not so many plus points for the Samsung Fold there.
Yes.
Some plus points coming out of Chicago though. I'm trying to figure out when it actually happened, because the article talks about it sort of as it happened a few hours ago, but obviously it was
April 11th to the 15th.
Ah, there we go. Yes. So this is the articles are going over 10 points that we have learned from the Star Wars celebration in Chicago that happened this month. There's no need to go into all 10 points, but we did find some interesting things. So we'd already heard about the release of the name for Star Wars Episode 9. It's going to be called Rise of the Skywalker, which is it.
Dun, dun,
which is
dun.
interesting. We've had the trailer out for the film, in which we hear at the end of the trailer a very familiar cackle. Which, if you are following Mark Hamill on Twitter, he claimed was actually him doing the cackle. I'm not sure whether he was being serious or whether it was just being compared to his animated Joker that he does. But everybody is suspecting that this is somehow the return of Emperor Palpatine, which
Do it.
seems odd,
Do
given
it.
the last time we saw him, he was being thrown into a reactor core, which then exploded and blew up the whole Death Star. But apparently, eagle-eyed people have spotted from trailers and from previous episodes that bits of blown up Death Star are sort of scattered around on like the Endor moon and things like that. So
you could say that Senator Palpatine blew it.
yes. He popped his Death Star, as it were. So yes, we might be seeing an old enemy back for episode 9, which is fine. You know, I kind of was enjoying more that they bring in other characters, but sure, let's go. We can go back to an old favorite. The actor, I believe, who played the Emperor has been seen in various events and sort of audience participation things. So it really wouldn't surprise me if he's back. What do you make of the title Rise of the Skywalker, or Rise of Skywalker, I should say? Obviously, we had episode 8 that we both enjoyed, but a lot of people were upset by for various reasons. One of which being that they wanted Rey to be some relation to the Skywalkers, and the film be all about them again.
I don't know, because I'm not too bothered about titles of the Star Wars films, because most of the time the title doesn't really emphasize much in the plot to me. But when I watched the trailer for it, I just didn't get it. If you saw the trailer, you kind of don't. It doesn't focus much, does it?
I mean, there is obviously there is a Skywalker it could be referring to, which is to say Ben Skywalker, aka Kylo Ren, but they don't go into that in the trailer, and in fact, all you really see of him is gluing his helmet back together. It's the teaser trailer is almost entirely focused on Rey, and with the thing that sort of worries me most is that the director of Last Jedi has said in a sort of throwaway comment in an interview, "Oh yeah, the new director can just retcon everything out of my film if he wants." So I'm like, okay, so are they going to turn around and announce that Rey is a Skywalker after all? That would seem weird,
like a waste of the last film.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what I'm worried about with this one. Is that I'm worried that what they're going to actually do with it is pander to bleeding heart fanboys who were harsh on the female leads and all of this sort of thing, and just retcon everything to be more like the pop version of it, as it were.
Would you have preferred the title be something like Return of the Emperor or something?
Yes, I mean that's a bit on the nose, but then I suppose Revenge of the Sith was pretty on the nose as well.
What was the second one?
Yeah,
Attack of the Clones. Yeah,
that pretty much told you what was going to happen. So there was
So I don't think Return of the Skywalker should have been like the last one.
Yeah, I suppose I'd see him come back, but
yeah.
Although interestingly, this is called Rise of Skywalker, so there's nothing to say that means it's a person, because
exactly, yeah,
they just say Rise of Skywalker, not of a Skywalker, of the Skywalker. But yes, there was some good news in terms of fans, though, from the convention, because the actor who played Jar Jar Binks and who has had rather negative social media and fan reactions to that character, and has led him to have some mental health issues. He came out to the convention to apparently the loudest applause, the loudest pop, as they say in pro wrestling, to of anyone of the night. And the actress who similarly has had negative experiences on social media for her portrayal of the Rose character in the last film came out to chants of Kelly, Kelly, Kelly. So it sounds like
I didn't have a problem with that with Rose at all.
no, I thought she was an awesome character. I had a problem with the fact they killed her off, but spoilers.
Because she saved herself for someone that she cared about.
Yeah.
Oh, boo! Why would you be upset about that?
Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished in popular culture.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's really good that the fans were treating them with respect, and by all accounts they were excited for the whole thing. So
does this mean we're not going to get any more Gungans back in this film?
I would be surprised if we see any more Gungans at least in the mainstream. I think they do appear in a couple of the spin-off games though, which is quite fun.
Okay.
We talked last week about the Mandalorian TV series coming to Disney Plus, but it was officially announced at this event. So that's definitely happening. There wasn't too many reveals though, which is fair enough because it's probably nothing to reveal. It's probably still very much in production at this stage. So we got some new information about Star Wars Resistance and Clone Wars. Characters that were popular in both of those are making a return, and there's new episodes coming out for that, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Always like a bit of that. There was a something that's I haven't had a chance to watch the trailer for, but there's a Vader Immortal.
The VR series.
VR series, yes. That it'd be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, I suppose because you're in inside a headpiece to start with, it could be quite interesting if to make it look like you are Vader and you're seeing literally out of his.
Do you know what? I've actually never considered watching TV shows that are specifically designed for VR. I never even imagined that was a concept.
No, me neither.
But it makes so much sense.
Yeah. It must be very difficult to do though, because you've got to write stuff in such a way that you encourage the participant, the viewer, to go in the way that the story would like you to go, even though in VR you've got full autonomy to move around and interact with things differently. So it'd be a different kind of thing to write and to produce for, but still, could be a lot of fun. So I will be checking the trailer out for that later. We're getting some more games from EA, some more Star Wars franchise games from EA. We're getting new comics as well. They've announced a new team to be working on some new Star Wars comics that push the expanded universe. And in fact, there's talk about a novel as well, which will be set after the episode 9 story. So there's an absolute metric ton of content coming out of this celebration and coming out for Star Wars in general. And there was apparently a load of live streams.
One of the things that actually happened that people weren't sure was planned was that the premiere of Star Wars Resistance, the first episode of season 2, was shown in its entirety.
Oh wow! Okay, I missed that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool if you're there in the convention. So yeah, it's cool to see Disney are doing lots of new and interesting and innovative things with the franchise and embracing new technology and new storytelling methods. So, yes, all good. What was not so good, however, was a little movie release that we mentioned a few times on this show, mainly because we just couldn't figure out why it was happening. This was the completely unnecessary remake of Hellboy, and it's had its opening weekend, and it took 10.3 million, which is pretty good for a US opening weekend. Except that's not the US opening weekend. That's internationally. That's the whole lot. Worldwide, it took 10.3.
Yeah.
For comparison, the other film that was debuting about the same time was Shazam, and it took 25.1 million. So yes, the complete reboot of Hellboy has been a complete flop. It's a bit difficult to say more about that, really. I mean, we said it ourselves. We didn't really think there was any need for it.
If they were going to do a remake of Hellboy or any form of thing to do with Hellboy, they should have done it as a Netflix series.
That would have worked. I think they could have done that because they were moving it to a new format. I think that they could have done Hellboy 3 just as easily. There was the ending of the first two didn't make it impossible to do a third film, and the first two were pretty well received. But as it stands, Hellboy reboot cost 50 million to make and has taken just 10 million.
Yeah, it's not. It will be very difficult for them to break even.
Yeah,
considering what's coming up this weekend, which I am going to see,
which is the Avengers.
Yes,
it's this weekend, is it? I hadn't realised that. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's Avengers Endgame is on Friday, I think. I think I'm going
Nice.
Saturday or Sunday. So if you're going, we can actually talk about a thing that's actually released on the time.
we can. We should do that. That sounds excellent. I shall make sure we endeavour to see it at its opening weekend. I suspect I could be talking like a crazy man here, but I suspect it's going to do a little better than 10.1 million worldwide.
Wow! Yeah, hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. Right. Well, I think that we've drawn a line under that one, as it were. So yes, what remains for us to tell you is that we are part of the Voice of Geeks network. Voice of Geeks network has all sorts of awesome geeky and pop culture shows. Everything from Dance Revolution, Pokemon Go, James Bond, Star Trek, you name it, it's there. There are podcasts for it. Head over to vognetwork.com and check it out. You can also check out Girls Gone WoW if you're a World of Warcraft player. Old, new, returning, everyone is welcome. If you've got a 120 character and you've got some gear on it, then join us on a Wednesday night if you're in the EU for Wednesday night raiding. You can get the details of our... Well, I was going to say casual, but we're doing pretty well.
I don't think it's quite casual raid anymore, but we take it lightly.
Yeah, we welcome all comers.
Abilities and all gear scores.
Yes. So if you do want a casual introduction or reintroduction to the world of raiding, we raid Wednesday nights from 8:30, which is slowly becoming more like 8 o'clock, but technically 8:30, and you can find all the details on how to join us at allthews.girlsgonewow.net/Discord, and you can get the Discord server there, and we can all get together for Wednesday night raiding. If you want to find the show not live every Thursday, you can find us at allthews.vognetwork.com/the-geek-card. We are on the Twitters at TGC Show. If you want to get in touch with us, then you can do, and we often feature an inbox with comments and suggestions and people pointing out how terrible we're butchering names, etc. For people who message us on Twitter. So that's at TGC Show. This week, I saw something that made me chuckle. So this is one of those classic "be careful what you Google Translate." So a shop in Wales, a supermarket in Wales, one of the leading supermarket chains in the UK, was trying to do the right thing by its Welsh audience and put up signs in two languages, in English and in Welsh, the sort of reclaimed Welsh language that's becoming more popular. To do that, the manager clearly just Googled it, because when he tried to make a section for alcohol-free drinks, he instead translated it in Welsh as free alcohol. So promising free beer and wine and spirits to the Welsh speakers of that part of the world.
Yeah.
Which I thought was suitable. And it reminded me of the last time someone tried to translate something into Welsh, and in English it said, "This road will be closed for such and such a thing," and in Welsh it said, "I am not responding to my emails at the moment."
Yes. Yes, that was brilliant. And they had to do. There was also a couple of ones where they've goofed up road markings as well. The actual markings themselves in Welsh being completely wrong, saying like the road. They had one where the road is closed, which was translated to in English. It was lane ahead, like a lane merging, and they did it as road closed.
Nice.
Dear.
I've seen that one. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes, so sign writers, get a Welsh speaker to help you out. Don't Google Translate it.
Ironically, the phrase would have been a lot easier, and it would have required less of a sign, the one that they wanted. So,
There you go.
I do like the article that said, where was it? It said that they were using the Welsh terms "free" and "alcohol" the wrong way round, telling locals they may help themselves to complimentary beer, wine, and spirits in plain sight for once, not having to hide them under the potatoes or forget to scan them to avoid paying.
Yeah, that was a bit cheeky. I'm not sure if they're casting aspersions there, but there we go.
Everyone knows that you mark alcohol as 12p bananas. Duh.
I'm clearly too honest at the self-service till.
Me too. That's also a show title. 12p
Well, you
bananas.
don't drink.
No, 12p bananas.
12p bananas. I like it. Yes, there we go. Well, all that means that we have to do now is for you to pass me your bilingual Geek cards. There we go. Thank you. Excellent. And I can re-ink the newly found, rediscovered stamp and make everything shipshape and Bristol fashion. There we are, all official and sealed for the week ahead. And with that, I can tell you that I am at RZBG if you want to follow me.
And I am at Robbie_Glow.
And now we will say goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Geek Card with your hosts, Razerbug and Robbie Glow. You can find The Geek Card wherever fine podcasts are found and on the web at thegeekcard.podbean.com. The Geek Card is a proud member of the Voice of Geeks network, where you can find other amazing podcasts like Orange Lounge Radio, Starboard Power Coupling, and Girls Gone WoW. Find out more at www.vognetwork.com.